He always told himself that he was a careful driver. His friends said the same thing. Whenever they went somewhere together, they trusted him behind the wheel. He was the one who stopped early at red lights, who let pedestrians cross even when they were slow, who drove a little under the speed limit because he believed it was safer. His mother used to say she felt calm whenever she sat in his car. His father once joked that he drove like an old man, and everyone laughed, including him. But on that cool Tuesday evening, none of that mattered. He was tired after a long day at work. The sky was slowly turning orange, fading into a soft purple near the horizon. The air felt heavy with the promise of night. He wanted to get home, take a shower, eat something warm, and rest. His phone vibrated softly in the cue folder beside him. He ignored it at first. Probably a message from his sister, or a notification from one of the apps he never turned off. He kept his eyes on the road. The highway stretched ahead of him long, quiet, and almost empty. The radio played a calm song he liked. The breeze from the half-open window touched his face. Everything felt peaceful, too peaceful, like nothing bad could happen. But sometimes trouble hides inside moments like that, waiting quietly. His phone vibrated again. This time the screen lit up, and he saw the flash from the corner of his eye. He tried to ignore it, but a small worry crept into his mind. What if it was important? What if someone needed him? He thought of his mother, who was getting older. He thought of his sister, who tended to panic easily. He thought of work, wondering if his boss had sent something last minute. He tried to resist the urge, but the thoughts grew louder in his head. He reached a straight part of the road. No cars were close to him. The sky was darkening, but the streetlights were bright. He told himself it was fine, just 3 seconds. A quick look. One glance. It would not harm anyone. He kept one hand on the wheel. With the other hand, he picked up his phone. He looked down. He did not know it yet, but those 3 seconds were long enough to change everything. When he finally looked back up, his heart jumped. A small car had stopped in front of him. The brake lights glowed red in the dim evening. He had missed the reason for the stop, something about road work ahead, but none of that mattered now. All he saw was the rear of the car, growing larger and larger in front of him. He gasped. His body tensed. He slammed his foot on the brake pedal. The tires screeched loudly against the road. His hands tightened around the steering wheel until they hurt. His eyes widened. His heartbeat pounded in his ears like a drum. The sound of rushing air filled his mind. The car slowed, but not fast enough. He jerked the wheel to the right, hoping to avoid the crash. For a tiny moment, he thought he had made it. But the road was narrower than he remembered, and a concrete barrier ran along the side. His car clipped the back of the stopped vehicle, pushing it forward slightly. The impact was sudden, but not violent. Then his own car spun a little, stopping at an angle against the barrier. His chest hit the seatbelt. His head snapped forward, then back. Then everything went still. He sat frozen, breathing fast, his hands still clinging to the wheel. His phone slipped from his lap and fell between the seat and the door. A strange buzzing sound filled his ears at first, like a swarm of bees. Then it slowly faded into the sound of cars passing far behind him. He blinked several times, trying to understand what had happened. It felt unreal, like a dream or a short nightmare. He touched his chest, then his face, checking himself without even thinking about it. He felt no sharp pain, just a strong tightness around his ribs from the seatbelt. His fingers trembled. He looked at the other car. Its driver sat still. The brake lights remained on, glowing faintly. A wave of fear rose inside him. Was the person hurt? Were they scared? Angry? He pushed his door open carefully and stepped out. His legs felt weak, as if the ground moved under his feet. He walked toward the other car. His breath came in short gasps. The evening air felt cold on his skin. As he got closer, he saw the driver was a woman, maybe in her mid-30s, wearing a blue sweater. She turned her head slowly when she heard him. She looked startled but conscious. Her eyes were wide, but not filled with pain. He knocked gently on her window. She rolled it down halfway. Her voice shook a little when she spoke. "Are you okay?" He nodded quickly, though he wasn't sure. "I'm so sorry," he said. "Are you hurt? Do you need help?" She shook her head. I'm fine. Just shocked." She placed a hand over her chest. "You scared me." "I know," he whispered, guilt burning inside him. "I'm so sorry. I looked at my phone. Just for a moment. I didn't see you stop." She took a slow breath. "At least we're alive," she said softly. "That's what matters." Her words hit him harder than anything else. Alive. Yes, they were alive. It could have been worse, much worse. He felt his throat tighten. He thanked her quietly for being calm, even though he knew she had every right to yell at him. A passing driver slowed down and asked if they needed help. They both said they were okay. After checking everything again, they exchanged information calmly. The damage to both cars was noticeable, but not severe. Nothing was broken beyond repair, but something inside him was. By the time he got back into his own car, his whole body felt heavy. He put his forehead against the steering wheel. His hands shook again. He closed his eyes, trying to steady his breathing. The thought kept repeating in his mind like a whisper he could not escape. It was only 3 seconds. But 3 seconds were enough. Enough to put someone's life in danger. Enough to risk his own life. Enough to cause fear, worry, and regret. Enough to change the way he would see driving forever. He turned off the car for a moment and just sat in the quiet. Cars passed in the distance, their lights stretching across the darkening road. He imagined what could have happened if he had been going faster, if a child had been crossing, if the woman had been stepping out of her car, if another vehicle had come speeding from behind. So many possibilities, all frightening. He felt a cold shiver run down his spine. He finally picked up his phone from the floor. The screen was still lit. The message that had called to him so strongly was nothing urgent. It was a simple text from his friend, asking if he wanted to watch a movie later in the week. He stared at it for a long moment, his jaw tightening. Something so small, so unimportant, had nearly led to disaster. He turned the phone face down on the seat, as if ashamed to look at it. When he finally drove home, he drove slowly, more carefully than ever. He kept both hands on the wheel. He didn't touch the radio. He didn't look away from the road. Every small movement felt important. Every second mattered. When he arrived home, he sat in the driveway for a while before going inside. The streetlights glowed softly. A dog barked somewhere in the distance. The world looked calm, unchanged, but he felt completely different. His mother opened the door and smiled, happy to see him. But the moment she saw his face, her smile faded. She asked him what was wrong, and he told her everything, every detail, every fear, every thought. She hugged him tightly, her voice trembling as she thanked God he was safe. That night, he could not sleep for a long time. His mind replayed the moment again, and again the red brake lights, the sudden panic, the tires skidding, the feeling of helplessness. He kept thinking of the woman in the blue sweater, and how easily she could have been seriously hurt. He thought of his own family, and how close he came to never returning home. The next morning, he made a quiet promise to himself. He would never look at his phone while driving again, not for a message, not for a notification, not even for a second. Nothing on that screen was worth a life, not his life, not someone else's. He removed all unnecessary apps from his home screen. He turned off notifications. He kept the phone in the glove compartment during every drive, far from his reach. He told his friends and family about what happened, hoping they would learn from his mistake. Some laughed nervously, thinking he was being dramatic. But he just looked at them and said softly, "I used to think the same thing." Over time, life went back to normal on the outside. He worked, he laughed, he drove, he lived. But inside, he carried the memory of those 3 seconds. It reminded him every day how quickly things can change, how fragile life is, how one small choice made in a careless moment can cause pain that lasts long after the sound of the crash fades. He sometimes wondered what the woman in the blue sweater told her family that night. He hoped she healed from the fear. He hoped she forgave him, even though he wasn't sure he forgave himself. But he learned something important, something that stayed with him forever. A phone can wait, a life cannot. And that was the simple truth he wished everyone knew. Moral: even a few seconds of distraction on the road can destroy lives. Nothing on your phone is worth the risk. Keep your eyes on the road, your hands on the wheel, and your attention where it belongs.